Cuphead was released in 2017 by Studio MDHR and is one of the best games out there on the market. With a charming 1930s art style and crispy, engaging gameplay, it is attracted and continues to attract many players. Today we take a look at perhaps the most prestigious speedrunning history of Cuphead, version 1.1 plus any percent. Before we get into the runs, the version 1.1 plus any percent category was not always called this. It has gone through many name changes, but this video will refer to it as 1.1 plus any percent to avoid any confusion. Version 1.1 plus is probably the most popular category in the Cuphead speedrunning scene, and it is played on patch 1.1 or higher as the name suggests. The goal of the run is to beat every main boss through any means necessary. There is a version prior to 1.1 however, which is undoubtedly the most broken version of Cuphead speedrunning. What 1.1 did was patch out the extremely game-breaking glitches of the previous patch, while leaving some remnants of the brokenness in. If we take a look at 1.1 plus any percent's history, the first ever completed run that was submitted to speedrun.com was this 50-minute and 13-second speedrun by Alpha Kong. This run was more on the casual side than being an actual try-hard speedrun. Because 1.1 plus any percent was brand new, Alpha Kong basically followed the route of the previous version speedrun, where you complete the first running gun 4 volleys, purchase the roundabout and lobber weapons from the shop, and hop on the first boss, which is Root Pack. Then in Aisle 2, Alpha Kong goes through Baroness Von Bonbon, Jimmy the Great, Peppy the Clown, Wally Warbles, then takes the secret route behind Aisle 2, fought Grim Matchstick, then shredded through Inkle Aisle 3 bosses in the order of Rumor Honeybottoms, Dr. Call's Robot, Sally Stageplay, Werner Borman, Captain Brinybeard, Calamaria, Phantom Express, then finally arrived at Inkle Hell where you fought King Dice and Devil. Things to take note from this speedrun is that there were many deaths across many bosses, and many remnants of the first version of the game's routing were left in, such as taking minimal parries and plane fights and the whooping combo used. They also went through the 3rd, 5th, and 7th bosses on King Dice, which may or may not be a little bit of foreshadowing as to what is to come later. After this run, only 5 days later, Extreme Level completed a run of 44 minutes and 21 seconds. Immediately, you noticed several differences. Extreme Level went through Forest Follies, then did an extra running gun called Treetop Trouble to collect even more coins, totaling up to 12. With these coins, Extreme Level buys the Spread weapon, the Lobber weapon, and the Charge weapon. Extreme Level prioritized the Charge and Spread weapon combo due to its higher damage output, but switched to Charge and Lobber on certain bosses like Grim Matchstick and Rumor Honeybottoms, where Lobber served an advantage over Spread. In this run, we also see a difference in the Aisle 2 route. Extreme Level goes through Peppy the Clown, Jimmy the Great, Baroness Von Bonbon, Wally Warbles, then takes the secret route into Grim Matchstick. Because of this order, Extreme Level actually does Jimmy the Great without collecting the bombs, only collecting it on his way to Wally Warbles. With a death only on Jimmy the Great, this record stood for a total of 4 days before the next runner, Soulwalker, approached. This run was nothing too different compared to Extreme Level's record. The biggest difference was that it was the first deathless run to ever be submitted to speedrun.com. After the first stage of runner is settled and the community had a baseline world record to compare against, the OGs of Cuphead speedrunning rose again. These OGs were none other than Luigi 100, K-Prime, and SPD Wolf. Most of these runners had been around since the release of Cuphead and had already rocked the speedrunning scene at least once. A mere 3 days after Soulwalker's 3608, Luigi 100 achieved an immaculate 3352, which was improved later on to a 3309 by K-Prime. This time, the route and skill involved was significantly more optimized. Instead of going through forest follies and treetop trouble to get 12 coins, the runners opted to instead go through the tutorial for 1 coin, then talk to Mac the Apple for an additional 3 coins, which was just enough to buy spread from the shop. Then they hopped into fighting bosses immediately, which saved them a tremendous amount of setup time. One boss that was affected most from the weapon meta switch was King Dice. Because you were forced to fight 3 mini-bosses in King Dice of your choosing, your weapon choice largely decided the mini-bosses. Before the 3309 set by K Prime, the mini-bosses chosen were 357 in the first ever run by Alpha Kong, 358 in the 4421 by Extreme Level, and from there on all the way before K Prime's run, the route would be 248. But wait, there was one more big time save on Ruby and Croaks, the frog bosses. If you got the Firefly's attack first, runners were able to squeeze out enough damage to skip the entirety of the second phase, which was named the regular skip. For a while after that, the records continuously got more and more optimized, but there was nothing groundbreaking discovered for a while. On April 3rd of 2018, a runner named Calaba got a brand new world record of 3150, beating the previous world record by 2 seconds. But there was something brand new that was brought to the table by Calaba, which were Calaba Swaps. Named after himself, as he was the one who found them, Calaba Swaps was a piece of tech that allowed you to shoot normal bullets while your EX move or special move came out. Normally, the game freezes your ability to shoot normal bullets when an EX is coming out, but by pressing the EX button and then quickly switching weapons, you were able to perform a Calaba Swap, which bypassed the game freezing your ability to shoot normal bullets. Besides this, however, there wasn't anything groundbreaking, and the records just slowly got optimized further and further until Calaba achieved a 3136 on April 20th of 2018, then all was silent for a while. May 6th, 2018. SPD Wolf storms in with the world's first sub 31, achieving a 3059. This one was all optimization, optimization, and optimization. But there was one huge time save that was an upgrade to the prior mentioned time save. If you had the Punches attack first on the Frogs boss, instead of regular skip, you could potentially get the Super Skip, which skipped the animation of Ruby rolling across the screen, which saved an additional 7 seconds on top of the regular skip. After this record, SPD Wolf went on to get another sub 31, which was a 3050, and this run was important for a couple of reasons. We saw the more advanced type of Calaba Swaps aside from the basic ones. The basic form of Calaba Swaps only allowed you to shoot spread bullets from a P-Shooter EX, but these new Calaba Swaps allowed you to shoot a spread EX from a spread bullet. Aside from that, we saw our first iteration of Luigi Swaps. Discovered by Luigi 100, Luigi Swaps were frame-perfect tricks that were basically the Calaba Swaps of plane levels. It worked by holding the mini-bomb weapon, then pressing the swap and EX button on the exact same frame. One more thing that we should talk about before moving on is with the P-Shooter EX, you could sometimes hit certain boss hitboxes that weren't even on the screen. This meant you could squeeze in damage when you were not supposed to be able to, saving quite a bit of time whenever you were able to hit these hitboxes. Afterwards, on August 7th of 2018, Calaba managed to get a new world record by 3 seconds, going from a 3050 to a 3047. This new record had one thing different, which was a different IL2 route. This IL2 route would now be here to stay, and the order was Baroness Von Bonbon, Wally Warbles, Jimmy the Great, Beppy the Clown, and finally, Grim Matchstick. This new route allowed runners to grab the mini-bombs before any of the plane fights began, so the mini-bombs could be accessed in any level. The records from here on continued to get further and further optimized until August 29th of 2018. SPD Wolf had done something huge.
Are you kidding me? This might end up being a really good run. I'll understand. Alright, this should be it. Pretty much. Very nice. Haha. Sub 30 has been achieved.
He had achieved a time of 29:47, the world's first sub 30. This run was a generational run. It did everything. A good Ruby and Croaks fight, Luigi swaps, Calva swaps, a quick kill on the B boss known as Remember Honeybottoms, and additionally, a trick that saved an entire 20 seconds. Beppy Skip. Beppy Skip was not an unknown trick, but it was not deemed run viable for a long time, until SPD Wolf went ahead and did it anyway. Beppy Skip was essentially killing Beppy the Clown's first and second phase while still in the first phase, and this act would freeze Beppy in the second phase until the fight ended, skipping any and all transition time. Somewhere within the Cuphead speedrunning scene, a new runner had appeared, a challenger if you will. His name was Grondious. At around this point in time, the lobber weapon was being a topic of interest. Double damage lobber EXs have been found, and they worked when a lobber EX hit the ground near a boss, which caused it to explode twice due to a easy collision bug. Grondious' idea was this: skip the tutorial point, talk to Mac the Apple, do Forest Follies, then buy lobber and spread from the shop. The community was supportive but doubtful, as the setup time would be a pretty huge time sink. But as time went on and Grondious grinded harder, on December 7th of 2018, Grondious achieved a run that proved the lobber spread was indeed faster even with all the setup time.
Yes, dude! 29-23, dude! Gold Devil! Yes, dude! Oh my god, we golded it, dude! 101! Oh my god! That was so insane! Oh my god, 2,000 bits from Chef Brit.
A 29-minute and 23-second run, this record bested the previous record by an insane 24 seconds. Grondious also had an interesting advantage over the other runners. If you remember, a little while back, we mentioned Luigi swaps, which are basically Calva swaps on plane levels. It allowed you to short normal bullets while using an EX at the same time. See, Luigi swaps were frame perfect for each and every one, and the consistency rate of Luigi swaps were what discouraged many runners from even attempting to learn them. By mapping inputs so Luigi swaps would be very easy on keyboard, Grondious could simply switch to keyboard only on the plane fights during runs, which granted him almost 100% consistency in doing Luigi swaps. These Luigi swaps would prove to save him 20 to 30 seconds over the course of the run very consistently. Because of lobber being used instead of P-shooter, runners decided to go for 3-4-8 on King Dice as well, even though the third mini-boss had quite a bit of health. With the help of double damage lobber EXs, you could absolutely wipe his health away. For some time from here on, we would see SPD Wolf, Jason 2890 and Grondious all compete for new world records. With continuous improvements and optimizations, on February 8, 2019, we arrive at this run.
Here's a real high-class cup. Now go!
Oh no! Oh my god, it's such a good run, but it was so close. That's a good time, pretty good time too, man. Oh my god.
This run, while it was a milestone, was also a very unfortunate run. Missing the next minute barrier by not even 1 second, this run had one interesting strategy that would lose its place in the run very soon, namely parries on rim. Other than that, this run was a run where Grondious stepped out of his comfort zone of the 3-4-8 route on King Dice and instead went for the 3-5-7 route, which was faster because it cost you one less dice roll. Each dice roll was around 10 seconds long, so if you could fight the bosses optimally, you could potentially save a lot of time compared to the 3-4-8 route. And then 13 days later, on February 21st, 2019, we would see Grondious achieve the first sub 29, a 28.53. While this run was a new record, there weren't any insane new strategies or groundbreaking tech, it was simply very well optimized. After the 28.53, the record was in the hands of whoever optimized their boss times better throughout the run. But there was one pretty big discovery on the boss, Werner Werman. On this boss, runners could pull off quadruple damage lobber EXs. Before these, quadruple damage lobber EXs, a 49-second fight was a great fight, but with this new discovery, you could achieve times as low as a 41. And from November 14th of 2019 to January 16th of 2020, Jason 2890 would have the 1.1 plus any percent world record all to himself, which would stay the 2829 before being improved to a 2822 by himself. Then, on January 17th of 2020, Grondious got a run that will be one of the longest standing records in all of Cuphead's history.
Well, here we go. 50-50, boys. Nice. I only want to go 2 there because I don't want to soft lock the game. Oh my god. Oh, okay. What is this? Dude, what the frick was that devil, dude? We got that. Oh my god. 2813. Oh my god, dude. What was that, dude? Oh my god. Dude. This run, though. Oh my god, man. That was such an insane ending.
This run was absolutely nuts. Every boss fight was at least of good quality, and the final boss, Grondious had managed to pull off an extremely rare glitch that was not known very well back then, known as the Devil Freeze. This record would stay for another 2 years and 9 months until a very particular runner known as Clipboard Guy slowly clawed up to be closer than ever. Clipboard Guy was not a defined OG runner or anything, he wasn't particularly good at any boss, but he had one thing, a very important thing going for him. He was insanely consistent. With the power of consistency on his side, Clipboard Guy fought on and on until October 28th of 2022, he achieved this run.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
And a goal?
Yo! 0.1 off an OX. Oh, I can't believe this
fucking
one.
crazy.
Oh. Where's Fabix? Where's Fabix?
Damn.
Oh, dude.
This run was a run of legends, being the first run in almost 3 whole years to beat Grondious' 2813 was an incredible feat. But Clipboard Guy was not quite satisfied. He knew sub 28 was possible, and was determined to see it achieved by his hand, so that's what he went for. Additionally, Clipboard Guy had also discovered a consistent method of manipulating the Devil Freeze glitch that Grondious had gotten in his 2813 run. If pulled off correctly, this trick saved a massive amount of time. And miraculously, Clipboard Guy actually managed to get the exact RNG that he needed on Devil to pull off the Devil Freeze, which would most definitely have led to a sub 28 time on this run.
Not quite enough. Wow. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but because I could have gotten double glitch there. And if I did, that probably would have been sub 28, but still really good run.
While it was a new record, Clipboard Guy was not satisfied, which was not surprising. Due to a slight miscalculation in his damage, he was not able to get the full Devil Freeze, and ended up with a time of 28:03, not exactly what he was looking for. While Clipboard Guy continued his attempts, a storm was brewing. While Clipboard Guy was rocking the Cuphead speedrunning scene, Grondious was preparing to return from his trip to speedrunning a game called The Messenger after setting a historical record in that game.
Let's go, dude! Yes! Finally!
From here on, it was a race between Clipboard Guy and Grondious to the sub 28. While Grondious had not played Cuphead in years, he shook off his rust like it was nothing. Closer and closer Grondious inched. And on July 25th of 2023, Grondious managed to beat Clipboard Guy's 28:03 by a second and achieved the 28:02. From here on, there was no stopping Grondious. Grondious rampaged on through Cuphead, getting record after record until he reached the sub 28, but his thirst could not be quenched. Further and further he pushed, achieving a 27:50, a 27:47, a couple of 27:45s on the way, and then a historical 27:33. This run, arguably, was the greatest run to ever grace the Cuphead speedrunning community at the time. There was no major mistake in any of the bosses. Many people even called it the perfect run, and so Grondious would come to take a break for almost another year. During that year-long break, you might think that someone like Clipboard Guy or Speedy Wolf might have managed to beat Grondious' record, but you'd be wrong. While they were able to come close, no one could actually best Grondious. And so 11 months and 26 days later, Grondious continued his rampage. He improved his record by tiny increments at first, getting a couple of lower 27.3x's, but then the inevitable happened.
Let's go, you God! What? No shot! No shot! Did I call that?
Grondious had done it. A new 10-second barrier had been broken. No one had even thought of this run as being even possible, but there it was, 27:24. If you think this is the end of the journey for Grondious, it is not. Not even a week later, Grondious brought his 27:24 down to the world's first 27:1x by getting a 27:19. From here on, however, Grondious had hit a wall. He managed to get another good pace, but was only able to improve the record by a measly 0.6 seconds, and Grondious met the end of his journey on May 7th of 2025 with an incredible 27:16.
Let's go, dude! Yes! No way we called it! Let's go! 45, baby! On that pattern! 45 on that one! Can you believe it, dude? The claw!
For now,